Hello, everybody. It's Nick here, and I have some very terrible news. Now, a few weeks ago, I don't know why I titled the video "R.I.P. My Stepfather," but I did, and I was really stupid. But I might just delete that video. But today, at around 1 p.m. during 1 p.m. today, he passed away, and that I was in shock. And I'll tell you guys why I don't cry in a minute. I'll tell you guys about that. I might later, but I'll tell you guys now or soon why I'm not, upset or why I don't seem upset about this. But I had taken my stepfather to the doctor. On I think I took him on Monday, Sunday, or I think it was Monday. On Thanksgiving, his LVAD thing started, making noise. That kind of got me worried. It wouldn't stop. So something was wrong with this LVAD, and it was Thanksgiving. It turned out not to be anything as major as we thought it was, so we went to take him on Monday, or I went to take him on Monday. Now, I never was close to my stepfather because if any of you guys out there or any people out there have had a divorce or have your parents divorced and, the mother gets married to someone else or the father gets married to someone else and you have a new stepmother or stepfather, it's surreal being around them. It's like, well, you're not my real mother, you're not my real father, and you're living with them, I should say, too. When my parents divorced, I can't say I was the worst kid in the world affected by it. I was optimistic about it. I just thought, hey, I can see my parents whenever I want, and even as a kid, I understood, it just didn't work out, And my dad, he really does feel sorry about how he treated my mom sometimes. You know, he's had nightmares about it. I mean, it's terrible. But so yeah, with my stepfather, we didn't really, we weren't really close together, and that was the worst part. We were starting to get a connection. We actually kind of did, and then when we finally do, he goes, and you say, you think, well, why don't you cry? Why don't you act like you give a crap about him? I do. But this is the reason why I'm not crying. Because I'm optimistic about it. I'm looking forward to seeing him upstairs, Now, I know his family was Mormon. I heard that he changed his religion. I don't know what he was or what he did. I don't know if he was like an atheist, an agnostic, or whatever, but shortly after he passed, I got on my knees and I prayed to God and I said, God, I understand that he may not have been a Christian, he may not have been a believer of Christ. I'm asking you for me, as a follower of Christ, to let him in heaven. And I hope that prayer works for all of my atheist friends and any of my friends who don't believe in the gospel of Jesus Christ. I don't wish a single person in hell. Barack Obama, as much as I don't like that guy, I wish he goes to heaven too. I mean, some people might think I'm crazy for saying that, but, I know what hell, or I have an idea of what hell's like. I don't want anyone to go there. I don't care if someone hates me, or if they like me, Watching Mr. Rogers is, kind of got me to be a nice person, Oh yeah, I'm 21 and I watch Mr. Rogers. I don't, nothing to be ashamed of. I think if Jesus Christ, like cloned himself, he would be Mr. Rogers. You never heard of him, molesting children or, anything bad. He never got arrested or anything. But I'm sidetracking. So yes, that's why I don't cry. I might do it later, But when my dogs died, I did cry because I was actually, I was close to my dogs, my first dog, we bought two dogs, One was a Hofewart and the other was a German Shepherd. Both of them are German breeds, of course, but one day they got out and, they usually did that. They usually get out of the house. In fact, our gate at our old house, there was just this little tiny slot, and they were somehow able to get under that. One day, Our dog, our dogs came back. Klaus, our Hoffelwart, he had, you know, I remember he had like all these thorns on him or something, and our German Shepherd Amber, the last place I remember seeing her was at the vet, and that was really hard to watch. Her back was broken. She was still alive, but her back got broken because a car hit her. She ended up going on the freeway, I think, and so they gave us two options, let her go or let her live with this problem. Well, that would have been right, to let her live. We wanted her to live, but we didn't want her to live like that. And so we just decided, just let her go. But for my stepfather, I knew this day was coming, but the thing is, he started to actually get better. The only thing that happened is we went out to lunch, after I took him to his appointment. When we came back home, he started to not feel good, and he was throwing up. And then he started to deteriorate from there. And I was just thinking, well, he's just sick, he'll get better in a few days, he'll be back to normal. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. He unfortunately passed, and I just, if he can hear me, I want him to know how much of a great stepfather I think he was. Yeah, he was immature at times, In fact, he and my mom argued a lot more than I did with my mom. But, he did teach me a few things about life. Like, I'm going to bring some humor into this to make a bad situation better, but the restaurant Dick's, which is famous in Seattle, he's like, eat the cheese off the wrapper, The funny thing is he actually was an EMT at some time, And, one guy he reminded me of is Curtis Armstrong, Booger from Revenge of the Nerds, because they were both the same age. I think my stepfather was only like a month older than him. So that's pretty cool to know that. But, I was the only person available to take my stepfather to work or to the hospital, since I didn't have a job. But, my mom was working and my sister was working, and when she wasn't, she didn't want to do it because she didn't really like my stepfather. They weren't really, close together. So, I'd always take him to an appointment. Every time I did, I felt, hey, we're getting a good connection, being a bullying victim, I'm not a talkative person at all. The person I talk to the most is my dad, because we have the same political and religious beliefs. And of course he's my biological father. I have a better connection with him. But my stepfather wasn't a bad guy. He was a really great person. And he's made an impact on my life. He also supported my music career. Some parents will tell their kids that's unrealistic. You're never going to accomplish that. That's only in a fantasy world. But my parents, even my stepfather, support me in that. They know that hey, if you try, you're going to make it. And I guess now my stepfather won't lie. I think he's going to see our next concert. He said, I'll be there for your next concert. I'm sorry I couldn't make it to this one. Because when we played our first gig, at the Firewheel in Everett, he couldn't make it because he was in the hospital. And then he did get out, but then he had to go back again because it turned out he was dying. So, I want to thank everybody. I'm sorry this is probably going to be a long video, but I want to thank each and every one of you who took the time to write out messages to him, just, to tell me, condolences, and to, pretty much all the kind messages and heartfelt messages that I got. I can't even express my gratitude. And to anybody whose stepfather has died, or a family member in general, or pet has died, in fact, I consider pets family members. I give you my condolences, but we have to look to Christ, and we have to look forward to the future. This is the part of life, unfortunately. Death is a part of life. And, it's the one thing that I've had to come to grips with. This is like the millionth family member I've lost this year. My cousin wasn't that old. He was only in his 30s when he died this year. and I didn't really talk to him much. In fact, I barely even knew him. I'd see him at my great uncle's Christmas parties, and that was about it. We didn't really talk much. Then his sister died. I think his sister died before he did. So, and then my aunt died. She went to my sister's graduation. That was the last time I saw her. And then she died. So, and that's probably another reason why I'm not crying either, because now my mind's just absorbing it now. Just, well, this is the millionth family member I've lost this year. What am I, who cares anymore, But I really should care. I've got both of my parents. I've got most of my family members, And I still got my uncle who introduced me to music. I mean, I discovered music when I was very little, but I remember going to his house and he'd teach me so much. And God bless him, and God bless everybody, even my subscribers. Thank you to every one of you who has supported me throughout these years. I don't know if I should be honored or if I should be, what's the word for, being mad at yourself. But I don't know if I should be honored or mad at myself for not crying. I saw Markiplier's video about how his friend Dan died, after I unsubscribed from his channel. And yeah, I unsubscribed from Mark's channel, and I think I talked about that a while back. If I didn't, well, I'll talk about that when I return. But anyways, he was crying, and I could only imagine, how close that those two were. Maybe that's another reason why I'm not, crying over my stepfather's death, is that, we didn't really know each other that well. We didn't really say, I love you. We didn't really say that. Even now, I don't even tell my parents that, because we're kind of like, I think we're all thinking, well, that's kind of a babyish thing to say, but it's not, Tell someone you love them is the best thing you could ever say to someone. Mr. Rogers, 143, I'm bringing that up again. So, that's the thing, you gotta... I keep trying to pound this in my head because I keep hearing it all the time. I've recently gone into Sublime, hence the shirt, and I listened to their song "What I Got," and that's such a good song. It's got such a good message, Love, accept life, Life's gonna throw crap at you. This is one of those things. It had a dump truck dump a bunch of poop on me, but I'm gonna get out of that poop and I'm gonna clean myself up. I'm gonna pick myself off the ground. And I'm going to continue with life. And I'm just going to remember, God's got my back. I will see them again. This is not goodbye. I'm just a passing through on this earth. And I will always keep them in my prayers. I will always remember them. And I will just visualize them smiling down at me with any success that I have. But I think the burden's gone. I was waiting for the day my stepfather would die when I knew it was coming. I wanted it to just happen and get it over with, and it finally happened today. So, again, thank you to all who sent me nice messages. And if I don't reply to any of your guys' comments, I just want you to know I said thank you. I honestly will read every comment I get, because I don't get much on this channel, because... well, I'm not really doing video game stuff anymore. I am going to, I just haven't done it yet. Anyways, thank you guys, God bless. Have a great day. I'm sure I'll get back to you guys before Christmas. I don't think I told you guys what's going on. Excuse me, I don't think I told you guys what's going on in my personal life, but our band went into the studio, and that was great. I met one of the best producers ever, and maybe I'll say his name in the next video, but I'm sure I'll be back before Christmas, so don't worry about that. Maybe I'll be gone a week. But this is one reason why I haven't been making videos for a while, is because this is some stressful crap. And this is a good thing with video games or music, It's a perfect counselor. Or Mr. Rogers, I think he was the ultimate counselor. I think he could stop a war. But... that's the thing. Music and video games, these are two things that counsel me. I don't have to go out and talk to a counselor or anything. I got music and video games to help me through this. Because that's the point of music and video games. To feel good. You know, to just take your feelings of anxiety and sadness and depression and just throw them away, at least for a little while. So, thank you guys. God bless you. I really appreciate all the comments. And I hope you guys have a great day. And sincere condolences to anyone who's lost a family member. I mean, I know what it's like. I've been losing people left and right this year, and it's just, you know, I have to learn to keep a brave face on things. I think I've done pretty good on that. I think this fox is going to make it. Peace out. Have a good one.